Hey guys, it's Alec Torelli, and welcome back to an episode of the Hand of the Day. I'm excited to get into this hand with you. I'm bringing this one out from the archives. It's a hand of poker I played in Turning Stone way back when. Poker Night in America, televised cash game with none other than the legend Joe McKeehen. So playing 25-50 no limit hold'em here, and I find myself in a very interesting spot in this hand, and I'd like to kind of walk you guys through it and talk to you about the relationship between logic and intuition, how to use game theory to make decisions in poker, and ultimately get your feedback and hear from you guys in the comments below. How could I have played this hand differently? Did I have to play the hand this way, or should I have done something differently and maybe get away from this spot? Without further ado, let's jump in to the hand of the day.
Hand of the day.
Well, it was funny because
you saw the
4
tweets?
hours was boring.
Thanks for the tweets, guys. You can tweet me at Tuck on Sports.
Sam just gets
Oh, yeah.
with 10-6 suit. That's
Yeah.
great.
I'm just mad because there was a hand where I
rep drawing dead twice.
there was a hand where I got third nuts for spill. I should have bet folded on the river, and like I just didn't think it through, and it would have like Alex was like everyone thought it was great, but he had like the fifth nuts, and he knows it wasn't like as impressive as Phil made it out to be.
Was I there?
Yeah. When I had the Jack 7 on Queen Jack.
Oh yeah.
Queen
Mr.
Jack
Fizbin
Jack
says,
seven.
Tuck, are you still working with the bike? I am. I will be back in Los Angeles.
This hand kicks off with me opening to 150 in late position with ace-8 of spades. It gets folded around to Joe McKeehen in the small blind, who calls. Now, in this situation, you have to remember, in the small blind, people generally are dividing their range, which is a fancy way of saying they usually don't call. They either 3-bet their good hands or they fold their bad hands. So when Joe McKeehen calls me here in the small blind, I feel like he has something good. He's heads up, out of position against another solid professional. He's not going to just be calling here with a random hand trying to bust me. I really feel like in order to call profitably here, he has to have a solid hand. Something like what he has is pretty much what I think we should be putting him on in this spot. Very reasonable call by him, and we go heads up to the flop.
Check.
Flop comes ace-6 deuce rainbow. Joe McKeehen checks, and while I would normally bet here, it's a spot I opted to check behind, and I did so for two reasons. Number one is I wanted to play pot control if I was beat. If he does have a hand like ace-queen or something, or ace-jack suited, ace-10 suited, I want to play some pot control. The second reason is I'm either way ahead or way behind. If I am behind, like he has what he has, I'm in bad shape. If I'm ahead, he's in bad shape. He's probably drawing slim or pretty close to dead if he has something like king-queen suited. So there's not a ton of reason to bet here. If you think about, I don't really win money from his bluffs by betting. I only lose money from better hands when he calls. Sure, I might get called by something like tens if I bet here, but I'm going to get value from that hand later on subsequent streets anyway, and I can't win multiple streets of value with my hand against his range. It's just not going to happen. So I felt like checking was the best play for pot control, and for the reasons we described, I check behind and we go to the turn. The turn comes to 10 of spades, a great card for me. I pick up a backdoor flush draw, and better yet, if he does have a bluff with something like king queen, queen jack, king jack, or 8-9 or 7-8, now this card gives him equity and he could start bluffing. So I hope this set up the plan accordingly, and when he bets 300 here, I'm getting excited because I also have a backdoor spade draw and I could hit the nuts and win a huge pot if he does have something like higher spades or a set and I end up coolering him. So I have a very easy call here on the turn. There's really not much else I can do. Setting this play up for the river, hopefully getting to call a bet here if he bets small in the river again. I opt to call the turn and we go to the river where things get interesting.
Both players with an ace. McKehen's ace-queen best. I think he bet, actually. Yeah, I like this. He overbets the pot. I kind of like it. I like the sizing. Something I've been doing in my own game is kind of experimenting with sizing. I like when players think outside the box.
The river comes a 5 of diamonds, and he bets 1,300 into 950, an overbet. Now, I go into this topic a lot more in my pro membership program at Conscious Poker. I actually reviewed this very same hand in much more detail and talk a lot more about my strategy, but I want to keep this concise for our YouTube channel. What I thought about in this spot is two things. The first thing I think about is the hand from a game theory standpoint. I want to immediately analyze the hand from a logical standpoint and say, what should I be doing here? Where am I at in my range? In other words, how good is ace-8 of a hand relative to all the other hands that I can have? And if I think about it, ace-8 is one of the better hands that I can have, if not near the top. I can't really have ace-10 because I probably bet the flop with that. Sure, I could have ace-5 suited. Maybe I could have a set of 10s. But other than that, ace-8 is really as good as it gets. So the question in my mind was, if I'm not going to call with this hand, then aren't I going to be too exploitable by just folding everything and then allowing him to bluff me in this spot in the future? That was definitely one thing going through my mind from a game theory standpoint. Now, from an exploitative standpoint, I'm thinking about the situation and who we are. We have no history. I think he knows who I am and respects my game. I don't think he's going to be calling me from the small blind and then just bluffing me in a big spot like this with an overbet when we have no history. He's probably not going to, he might even not bet with something like queen jack or king queen on the turn. He might just check and kind of give up with that hand. Because I don't really know how to play, I'm not sure that he's going to be balanced here, meaning I'm not sure there's going to be that many bluffs. He might be overly weighted towards value bets, maybe giving me credence to end up folding. It's really tough to make decisions in spots like this when your intuition tells you one thing and your game theory says another thing. Knowing what you're supposed to do, what the book says, given that I'm supposed to call here, sometimes I end up leaning towards that. Ultimately, what I try to do in spots like these is silence the chatter in my mind and listen to my gut instinct. In this spot, I ended up calling, sort of talking myself into a call that I felt like I shouldn't have made, and I ended up paying the price. I'd love to hear from you guys though. What would you have done in this spot? Did I have to lose 2 bets here? Should I have listened to my intuition? Or do I have to kind of call here because this is really as good as it gets? I'd love to hear from you guys in a comment below. Most importantly, what do you guys trust in big spots? Do you trust your logic? Do you trust intuition? If you guys would like more from me and more in-depth analysis that we don't have time to go into these YouTube videos, check out the Conscious Poker Pro Membership Program. You'll get access to a plethora of training videos as well as a group Slack, a group community of people that are all aspiring to take their game to the next level, monthly group coaching from yours truly, and a certified Conscious Poker coach who's worked with me, taken my programs to get in the community and answer any questions that you guys have as well. You'll also get priority access to submitting your hands to me if you want them reviewed in our membership program or on my YouTube videos. Thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you like this and want more content from me, and I'll see you guys next time here at Conscious Poker. Thanks for watching.